Hey guys, tonight we embark on a journey through time, gliding quietly across the misty waters of Lake Texcoco. Imagine this, a stillness in the air, the gentle lapping of water against the side of your canoe, a calm serenity only punctuated by the faint sounds of distant wildlife. In the distance you spot small green islands, floating tranquilly on the surface, each a testament to human ingenuity. You might think that these islands are just another part of the scenery, but surprise. These aren't natural islands. They're Chinampas, ancient floating gardens, crafted by the hands of people long ago. It's a place where the past and present meet, and a wrong step could send you swimming like a fish. You probably won't survive this, but let's not dwell on that. Instead, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, feel free to post your location and local time in the comments. It's always fascinating to see where you're tuning in from. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. As your boat drifts across Lake Texcoco, you can almost feel the whispers of history in the air around you. These Chinampas, known as floating gardens, were cleverly devised by the Aztecs to enhance their agricultural prowess. Each island was constructed by layering mud and decaying vegetation, turning the lake's marshy landscape into fertile ground, perfect for growing crops. Vivid colors of flowers, maize, beans, and squash once painted these waters, creating a vibrant tapestry of life and sustenance. To give you a sense of scale, this network of Chinampas once numbered in the thousands, an impressive infrastructure that fed the bustling population of Tenochtitlan, the great Aztec capital that once sat nearby. As you continue your journey, you might feel the gentle tug of curiosity. What exactly inspired the Aztecs to create these islands? Historians still debate whether it was solely out of necessity, driven by population growth, or if there were other cultural influences at play. Regardless, the ingenuity and artistry behind these gardens are undeniable. Here, where nature and human craftsmanship met harmoniously, each enhancing the beauty and utility of the other. The gentle ripples of the lake reflect a sky turning the soft colors of dawn. You glide past fish darting under the surface, and your mind wanders to the people who would have once walked among these isles. Imagine the farmers beginning their day paddling out in canoes, much like yours, ready to tend their crops as the sun began its ascent over the hills. But tonight, you're not meant to toil in these gardens. Instead, relax, bask in the historical ambiance, and allow the stories of the past to wash over you, just as the ever so slight mist brushes your skin. Time here feels different, stretched and elongated, swaying gently, like the native reeds growing along the water's edge. Suddenly you spot something unusual, a small altar, crafted meticulously out of stone and decorated with intricate carvings. Such shrines were common, as the Aztecs were deeply spiritual people who believed the gods played an essential role in their agricultural success. It's fascinating to think about how daily life intertwined so seamlessly with the spiritual, every harvest and offering, as much as it was a necessity. You can't help but wonder at the rituals performed here. their chants carrying through the mist just as the early birds upstart their daily chorus. There's something about this place that's both awe-inspiring and calming, a gentle reminder of humanity's ability to adapt splendidly to its surroundings. Yet for all its serenity, you also remember the complexity of the Aztec society, its achievements and conflicts, rituals and realities, a woven fabric of stories that still beckons exploration and uncovering. Layer upon layer of mud and history, vegetation, and ancestral wisdom, each nexus of life's intricate dance is captured here. The Chinampas of Lake Texcoco are not merely a testament to ancient innovation. They are an invitation to pause, reflect, and connect with a world long gone, yet somehow still present in whispers. As the morning sun starts to peek over the horizon, casting golden rays across the water, you find solace in the continuity of life, how the past lives on in tradition, in story, in every gentle glide of your boat across the calm, misty lake. And as your eyelids grow heavier with the peaceful rhythm of the narrative, let yourself drift into the gentle embrace of dreams, where history continues its quiet conversation with those who dare to listen. You find yourself in a place quite unlike anywhere you've ever wandered through. Tenochtitlan emerges before you with its vibrant life echoing through the air. Picture a bustling city, a labyrinth of waterways and pathways where boats glide gently across shimmering canals under the watchful gaze of the sun. Here in the midst of a vast lake, this capital of the Aztec Empire presents a world unto itself. Wonder fills your senses as you notice the floating gardens known as Chinampas, which extend like fingers caressing the water. These marvels of agriculture float so serenely that they almost seem to be suspended in midair, tricking your eyes into believing they are clouds come down to earth. The Aztecs, with their formidable ingenuity, constructed these gardens to feed their bustling city, a historical testament to human creativity. As you walk along a wide causeway that connects the city to the lakeshore, you can't help but feel the surreal quality of this place. Beneath your feet, you sense the solid stone's chill, but in your ears there's the whisper of water all around, creating an island sensation amidst a terrestrial world. It's said that Tenochtitlan's population may have reached over 200,000 inhabitants at its peak, making it one of the largest cities of its time. There's debate among historians about whether this city's grandeur could have even rivaled that of European capitals during the same period. Yet standing here, the magnificence seems undeniable. Streets teem with people going about their daily lives, each individual adding a thread to the city's rich tapestry. Warriors in feathered headdresses, merchants with their vibrant wares, and priests in ceremonial robes, all blend into the city's living mosaic. And then there's the Templo Mayor, the great temple towering over the cityscape with its dual staircases reaching up towards the sky. It's a sacred site dedicated to the gods Huitzilopochtli and Tlaloc, pivotal in the Aztec pantheon. Ceremonial life here is as vibrant as the city's pulse, echoing through rituals both grand and solemn, leaving an indelible mark on the lives of Tenochtitlan's citizens. Around you, life unfolds with a certain ordered chaos. The market abounds with colors and sounds. Traders shout their wares. Children play along the canal's edges, and the melodies of musicians drift through the air like fragrant incense. Among the goods are treasures of turquoise, intricate textiles, and the intoxicating allure of chocolate, all highly prized in the Aztec world. Can you imagine a world where chocolate is a luxury? It's a budding aristocratic affair, not the commonplace indulgence it is today. You stroll along the water's edge, taking in the gentle sway of canoes as they ferry people across the winding network of canals. These watery avenues function like bustling roads, essential for transport in this unique city on a lake. The water caresses the city's edges, sometimes gently lapping, sometimes more forceful as the weather dictates. Here you might come across a scene less serene, a group of boys jumping from boat to boat in a daring and perhaps foolhardy game, their laughter ringing out over the water. Children's antics, timeless and universal, remind you that though centuries separate you, some things never change. The sunlight begins to fade, casting an amber glow over the city. Torches flicker to life and shadows dance along the walls, merging stories of the past with the presence of the night. As darkness descends, the city's energy shifts, becoming more subdued, yet retains its ever-present hum. In this transformative moment, standing in the heart of Tenochtitlan, you understand that this city, more than just bricks and mortar, is a living, breathing entity. Its heartbeat resonates through its canals and causeways, whispering secrets of an ancient world that once stood robust and proud, weaving a captivating tale of resilience, innovation, and diversity. With nightfall fully upon you, you pause to take in the scene, the city's rhythm slowing as its people retreat into the quiet sanctuary of their homes. Just like that soft background hum of a fan, this city gently cradles you in its nocturnal embrace, inviting you to rest and reflect upon the wonders of its watery world. As the golden sun dips below the horizon, you find yourself standing on the banks of a shimmering, salty lake. The water glows with an ethereal light, casting long shadows across the landscape. You can almost feel the stories whispering through the reeds, tales of a time when the world was both new and old. It's a place where imagination meets history, and tonight you are going to see just how the remarkable Aztecs turned an inhospitable landscape into a thriving haven. You take a deep breath. The air is full of mystery and promise as you step forward into soft marshland. You imagine you can hear the gentle splash of paddles as canoes make their way through the water. It's not easy territory. You probably won't survive this, the continuous slogging through knee-deep mud, navigating the unpredictable terrors of hidden snakes. Yet the Aztecs weren't deterred by such inconveniences. They thrived here. For a moment, you wonder how they managed it all. You're surrounded by endless acres of marshes, interrupted here and there by slender canals that snake their way across the landscape. You see the Aztecs in your mind's eye, paddling their canoes with ease, handling the powdered silver of water lilies and reeds like old friends. They had no wide open fields to sow their crops. Instead, they envisioned a world of floating gardens, Chinampas, clever plots of land tethered in vast lakes and marshes. The ingenuity of it makes your heart swell with admiration. Each Chinampa was a testament to human creativity's boundless reach, a feat of engineering and agriculture combined. You sidestep a puddle of shimmering brine, stepping onto soil that should not really exist. It's built atop layers of mud, woven reeds, and green willow branches, miraculously fertile, ready to nourish life. In this eerie, almost mystical place, you find a farmer ancient yet timeless. He's crouched low, tending to rows of bean squash, and most importantly, maize, the lifeblood of their civilization. With quiet focus, he reshapes the world to suit their needs, systematically blessing each seed with the hope of harvest. Historians still debate whether these Chinampas could sustain a continent-spanning empire, but the Aztecs believed, and that was sufficient. You're deep in thought, softly amazed at how life perseveres in the oddest climes when something unusual catches your eye. Side by side with the more familiar crops, you notice an unexpected patch of marigolds. It's a splash of golden yellow amidst the green sea, unmistakably vibrant. The Aztecs prized these blooms not just for their beauty, but used them in rituals, even cooking. Who knew such a fragrant flower could have such varied roles? The air is thick with a sense of continuity, of endless cycles of planting and reaping, driven not only by necessity but also mysticism. The Aztecs saw their world as a God-given tapestry, and it was their sacred duty to tend to it carefully. As you watch the sun's final resting rays kiss the water's surface, you too have a sense of being part of something larger. You pause for a moment, nudged by a gentle breeze that tells you it's time to move on, deeper into the story of these marshlands. You continue your walk, letting the story guide you through time, the soft sound of lapping water your companion. And just as you think you have seen the marvels of New World agro-technology, another surprise looms. A grandmotherly figure tells of how these lands were not only used in times of peace but war. The marshes, she whispers, doubled as a defensive barrier, one that frustrated invading forces. Tangling reeds and deceptive depths thwarted many a conqueror's finest plans. The Aztecs' mastery over the landscape protected them, allowing time to grow and innovate beyond simple survival. This watery world concludes its chapter slowly. Dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into this journey together. You imagine the embrace of a warm blanket, replacing the clasp of water and mud, a reminder that every daunting challenge can be transformed like the fertile fields from sodden marshes. As you close your eyes, you find yourself gliding seamlessly from one Chinampa to another, buoyed by imagination and history. With each breath you inhale the earthy fragrance of the land, feeling the pulse of an age-old harmony. It lingers, lulling you towards restful dreams where history and imagination freely flow. As you drift into this vivid landscape of shimmering waters and lush growth, the soft rustle of leaves whispers a secret through the gentle breeze. This evening your journey unfolds not far from the heart of the ancient Aztec Empire, amongst the tranquil beauty of the Xochimilco canals. Here in this serene water world, you find the Chinampas, often called floating gardens, though they're not quite adrift as the name suggests. Picture them as a great puzzle of life, one piece connected to another, forming a breathtaking harmony. Now imagine standing on one of these Chinampas, a narrow strip of fertile land crafted with intricate care. Beneath your feet lies a sturdy bed of woven reeds, layered with the nourishing mix of rich mud and compost, teeming with life, a process honed over generations. At first glance, you might think you could sink, yet these gardens are firmly anchored to the lake bed, with slender, graceful willow trees standing guard at their borders. But let us not get too carried away. Historians and curious minds have long puzzled over who first conceived these marvels. Was it an idea birthed from necessity, or a stroke of inspiration under the cover of moonlit skies? The debate lingers much like the soft scent of earth that drifts through the air around you. As you carefully wander these verdant strips, you become the observer of a pastime both gentle and industrious. In the golden light of dusk, farmers nurture corn beans, squash, and vivid flowers, countless blooms, each unique, yet together forming an unbroken thread of color. You might feel the urge mischievously to dip just one toe into the cool water. But remember, this is a place where reality teeters on the edge of myth and mystery, and you, much like these gardens, could find yourself caught between the realms of dreams and waking life. The willows with their long sweeping branches are not merely anchors but guardians of tradition. On nights like these, when stars dot the sky like seeds in a fertile landscape, the trees murmur tales of old. Perhaps, if you're lucky, you'll catch the faint echo of an ancient song passed down from one generation to the next, their roots entwining stories as they grow deeper into the earth below. Mystery and history blend effortlessly here, leaving you curious about what you can learn from this fascinating, albeit slightly soggy adventure. Just remember, no matter how captivating the stories of the Chinampas, always keep one foot grounded in the present literally. You probably won't survive this floating reality check if you decide to jump in entirely. So lean into this journey, and as the first stars peek out from the violet sky overhead, you drift along with the rhythm of this place, a living testament to human ingenuity and resilience. Let your mind wander, much like these gardens, suspended between the sky and the earth, floating gracefully towards a state of restful ease. Picture this. It's the time of the Aztecs, and you're standing by the edge of a vast lake. The water is calm. The sky mirrors its azure on the surface. The air is filled with the scent of wood and water lilies. In your hands, you hold woven mats, made from reeds sturdy yet flexible. These will be the foundation of your endeavor, much like an artist's canvas, waiting for the first brush stroke. Beginning your work, you lay down the mats and branches, crafting a raft that is both an art form and a science. You tie them with practiced knots that have passed through generations, each tie snug and precise, ensuring the base holds strong. A laugh escapes your lips. The thought that you could fashion land on water seems almost whimsical, doesn't it? And yet here you stand, a small figure, learning from centuries of silent innovation. Once your base is secure, it's time to dredge up the mud from the lake's bed. The smell of earth and water blends into a rich aroma, evocative of old rain-soaked towns and dewy forests. You slog through the weight of the mud, feeling the cool lake water lap at your ankles as the soft, dark soil slowly gathers around you. Back and forth you go, quite the scene to behold, as you shovel the mud onto your raft. Each time you return with more soil, the floating patch of earth grows layer upon layer, until finally you have created a small expanse, an island born from your own hands. You can't help but admire the resilience of those who first taught you this art. Historians still debate whether it was desperation or innovation that led to the creation of this floating land. With your robust patch prepared, it's now time for your crops. You plant corn, thrusting the seeds into the soft, damp soil. You know to plant corn first. It's said to be a thriving crop in these conditions, encouraged by the nutrient-rich silt, just like how sunflower roots adjust to follow the sun. The seeds disappear beneath the mud, a promise of future sustenance. And now you wait. The sun yawns wide, casting a golden glow over your work. Time drips leisurely into minutes, hours. You remain vigilant, watching the play of light and shadow over the water. This floating farm, or Chinampa as they call it, is like nothing else. It's a space that defies logic yet grows life consistently. And so you keep watch the air, full of potential and history and the scent of new beginnings, mingling with the distant sound of a city at work. While you wait, your mind wanders to tales of old. They say the Aztecs used these floating gardens not only to grow food, but as strategic vantage points, hidden gems amidst the bustling water highways of Tenochtitlan. It's an unusual thought, the very same soil beneath your feet, forming the quiet battlegrounds of history's whispers. The sheer perseverance of this place leaves you with awe, reflecting over the ripples like the soft murmur of forgotten stories. The gentle rhythm of the lapping of water against your Chinampa lulls your thoughts into a serene lullaby of its own. You feel the sunlight play warmly across your skin as you rest by a tree at the corner of your creation, feeling the hum of life in every layer beneath you. Days trickle by in soft whispers as you anticipate the first green shoot pushing determinedly through the veil of earthen cover. It emerges, reaching towards the burning gold of the sun, a tiny beacon of life born from your labor. Surprising, isn't it, that amidst the trials and grime, your small seeds conjure life in their fragile insistence. As the corn begins to grow, your Chinampa becomes an orchestra of life. Birds flit by, perhaps contemplating the structure with mirth or envy. Frogs and insects make themselves known through a symphony of chirps and whistles, celebrating as much as informing others of the floating feast you've created. This place of new novelty is alive in a way that becomes steadily closer to your heart. You swirl thoughts of maybe just perhaps building another someday. For now, the peace of the moment holds you captive, cradled in the history of innovation all around. The days stretch and pull like taffy, your thoughts ever returning to the idea of humans building earth on water. You smile in quiet reflection, pondering the unpredictable harmony danced into being by simple beings, clutching woven mats and heavy mud. As you drift further into this dreamlike world, you find yourself walking through an ancient and vibrant landscape that seems to breathe history from every corner. You're on a journey back to the Aztec Empire, a civilization known for its incredible achievements and unique way of life. This time, your path leads you to something extraordinary, a Chinampa, an ingenious floating garden that defies the conventions of agriculture and challenges even your wildest ideas of what farming could look like. The air is a mosaic of earthy scents of water meeting soil and of lush greenery. You stroll along the edge of one such Chinampa, marveling at the latticework of plants, flourishing with an abundance of life. But there's something more here, something towering and vital that catches your eye. The ahuejote trees. These flexible willows stand like guardians of the garden, a living boundary that is both functional and beautiful. Their slender trunks sway ever so slightly in the warm, gentle breeze, as if acknowledging your presence, almost like they're whispering the secrets of their resilience. You notice how their roots dig deep into the waterlogged soil, holding the floating plots of earth together with quiet strength. These roots do more than secure the islands they offer, essential shade, a respite from the blazing sun, cloaking the crops beneath in dappled relief. As you meander, you can't help but be charmed by the tranquility they bring to this thriving watery domain. It turns out that ahuejote trees are more than just ordinary wood and leaves. Known for their flexibility and grace, they give structure and support to the Chinampas, much like the sense of calm they bring you as you explore this ancient land. But here's the twist. Despite their vital role, these remarkable trees are not the product of some grand design. Instead, the idea of using ahuejotes was discovered partly by accident, as farmers observed how these native trees thrived in the conditions of their aquatic surroundings. Historians still debate whether it was intentional foresight or fortuitous happenstance that secured their prominent place in Aztec horticulture. What they agree on is the sheer genius of it all. With each step amid this green wonderland, you're drawn deeper into a world that feels both timeless and innovative. The ahuejotes stand as living proof of the Aztecs' profound understanding of their environment, a testament to their ingenuity and respect for nature. This harmonious relationship between the people and the land echoes throughout history and reaches a part of you that longs for a connection with the earth. While absorbing all this, a surprising detail emerges, like spotting a rare bird in a vast forest. Researchers have found that the planting of these trees may have also played a role in controlling pests by providing a sanctuary for birds that prey on insects. These gentle giants, in their wisdom and silence, contribute to a balanced ecosystem that thrives in peaceful symbiosis. As your exploration unfolds, you feel a sense of wonder and gratitude towards the people who crafted such a magnificent balance of culture and nature. You reflect on how these trees, elegantly intertwined with life, on the Chinampas stand as a metaphor for resilience and adaptability, much like the Aztecs themselves. You notice how each leaf catches the light and dances with the wind, a gentle reminder of the delicate and enduring dance between humanity and the natural world. This journey alongside the waterways of the Chinampas becomes a soothing lullaby, one that reassures you of the beauty in both simplicity and sophistication. And as the evening sun dips lower in the sky, casting golden hues over the lush canopy of leaves, you feel a sense of calm washing over you like a pebble dropped into still water, sending ripples of tranquility through your mind. The ahuejote trees, with their quiet diligence and nurturing presence, guide you to a conclusion as soft and reassuring as their own leafy embrace. You carry with you a piece of this ancient wisdom, a reminder of the miraculous coexistence possible between human endeavor and nature's bounty. In these gentle moments of understanding, you find yourself at peace, lingering in the twilight of scattered whispers among the leaves, a dream slowly fading into the comforting arms of sleep. The soft light of a moonlit sky gently fades near the horizon, giving way to the faintest hint of dawn. You find yourself aboard a small canoe, its wooden structure creaking softly as it glides over calm waters. The air is cool and crisp, carrying whispers of the night just past. Your destination is a patch of fertile land that you have tended with care, a garden resting on the fringes of a sleepy countryside. Today, like every day before, you're equipped with the essentials: a sack of rich compost made from painstakingly saved kitchen scraps and organic material, a careful blend that promises to return nutrients to the earth. Though small in the grand scheme of things, this practice harkens back to ancient agricultural rituals where farmers long relied on the natural cycle of life to nurture their crops. It's often debated among historians whether early civilizations truly understood the science behind composting, or if they stumbled upon its benefits quite by accident, guided only by trial and error. Regardless, it's now an indispensable part of your routine. As you paddle, you start to hum a tune, a soothing melody passed down through generations, reminiscent of lullabies sung in distant fields under vast open skies. The song carries a sense of timelessness, binding you to the countless souls who have performed similar tasks under similar skies for eons. The edge of your garden comes into view. It's a place where squash vines weave intricate patterns across dark soil, their large leaves undulating gently in a light breeze. Your tomatoes stand sentry-like their green globes, fattening with the promise of ripeness, while clusters of chili peppers add a dash of fiery color to the scene. You disembark, setting foot on the dewy ground, your hands familiar with the texture and temperature of fertile soil begin their early morning ritual. The first task is applying the compost, spreading it lovingly across the base of each plant. The earth breathes it in, gratefully accepting your offering as you pat the compost down, ensuring it reaches the roots where it is most needed. Then comes the time to inspect each plant meticulously, looking for unwelcome visitors that may have crept in under the cover of darkness, the pests. Holding aloft a leaf, you scour its surface much like farmers have for centuries, Curiously, some scholars argue about whether this meticulous attention to each plant stemmed from a deep understanding of pest behavior or was simply out of necessity when food scarcity demanded such vigilance. As your eyes trace the contours of the plants, you remain vigilant, catching the small culprits in the act. A gentle flick of your finger removes an offending beetle, and you marvel at how such tiny creatures have over time shaped the very practices farmers use to protect their livelihood. Continuing your tasks, you remain enveloped by the comforting smells of soil and plant life. You find a sense of peace in the methodical nature of your work, reminiscent of the ancient agrarians who spent dawn to dusk in their fields, sharing in humanity's earliest ties to the earth. Time drifts by the kind that feels eternal yet fleeting until you set your gaze back towards the water and prepare for the return journey. As you paddle leisurely back across the calm expanse, the sky shifts from the gentle pastels of pre-dawn to the brighter hues of a world coming awake. The soft chop of the paddle whispers against the water, a comforting rhythm that lulls your thoughts into a gentle dance. Reflecting on the simplicity yet profoundness of your morning, you recall those who have come before and those who will follow and wonder what they too will find in their harmony with nature. The journey home is slow, your canoe cutting gently across the surface. Calm and resolute, you consider the endless cycles of care and growth that bind you to this land. Every paddle stroke, every moment spent nurturing the earth seems to echo a broader story of persistence and hope, a history written not in books, but in the symphony of life growing around you. The gentle rhythm of your dreams is like a river winding softly through the night. As you drift from reality into a realm filled with wonder and mystery, imagine, if you will, a time and place far different from today. It is a world where the sun's path governs not just the day, but the destinies of those who dwell beneath its warming glow. You're in the heart of the Aztec civilization, where the people look to the skies for guidance. The vast expanse above is no empty space, but a map leading them through life's intricate dance. Their lives are interwoven with a complex calendar, a remarkable orchestration of time, nature, and belief. This calendar is a marvel of mathematical precision, with seasons carefully choreographed to the rhythms of the cosmos. You marvel at how the Aztecs, without modern tools, could have created something so detailed and interlocking. It's a testament to their keen observation and deep understanding of the world they lived in. Each season brings with it different responsibilities and rituals. In the season of renewal, for instance, you join the villagers in planting seeds. The earth is cool and fragrant, filled with the promise of growth. You can almost feel the pulse of life beneath your fingers as you push seeds into the rich brown soil. But this is not just an agricultural act. It is a sacred duty. The seeds are offerings to the gods, planted with prayers for a bountiful harvest. Historians still debate whether the calendar was entirely a product of the priest's wisdom, or whether it was refined over generations by the farmers who observed the land. What is clear, however, is that faith and farming are inseparable in this world. As the sun sets and the stars appear, the villagers look to the heavens, finding the patterns of their calendar in the constellations. But the Aztec calendar is more than marks on stone. Each period is tied to elaborate ceremonies. On certain days, you notice the preparations for a significant ritual. The air is alive with expectation. Participants gather their brightly woven garments, a dazzling mosaic of color and history. There's a sense of unity, of shared purpose, as they prepare to perform rites that will ensure the blessing of the gods. The unusual detail of the Aztec calendar is its allowance for more than just the ordinary planting and harvesting activities. It also includes festivals that honor their ancestors and prepare the new generation for the responsibilities ahead. One surprising detail is that even though the Aztecs revered the war god Huitzilopochtli, they also celebrated quiet, introspective moments where individuals connected deeply with the spirits of their forebears. Ancient stories passed down through the generations explain how these celestial and earthly events are a grand design guiding people toward prosperity and happiness as long as they respect the balance. You find yourself wondering about the balance in your own life, contemplating the harmony between work and rest, giving and taking. As you ponder these thoughts, a soft melody drifts from a simple flute, blending with the crackling of the fire that's beginning to dwindle. The music is as much a part of the ritual as the incantations and the wood smoke. Its notes weave a tapestry of sound, evoking other places, other tales told under similar starry skies. You might not always understand the full significance of each ritual or the exact constellations that light the Aztec nights, but something in their cyclical calendar resonates within you. The continuity, the ebb and flow of activities and time reflect nature's rhythms and remind you that life's complexity can also be calmingly predictable. The wind shifts slightly, carrying the rich scent of the earth mingled with incense. Though you are an observer, you feel welcomed into this dance of time and belief. It is an invitation not merely to witness, but to feel a connection, a glimpse into the legacy of those who lived with a gravity you might not fully appreciate, but can deeply respect. As the night deepens, and the words of an elder recount the passage of stars, a gentle reminder that time moves on. Yet some things remain, the sky seems vaster. It holds wisdom untold, much like the unread pages of history. You rest in the knowledge that while you may not have all the answers, understanding, like the seasons in the Aztec calendar, will come in its own time. And as your mind starts to let go, easing into the flow of a peaceful slumber, you're reminded that each day's light is a chapter of an ongoing story, one that we navigate together beneath the canopy of stars. Farmers long ago discovered the secret to nourishing their crops. The most fertile mud rested silently at the bottom of the lake. You find yourself by the lakeside, the sun dipping gently behind the hills, casting a golden shimmer on the water. The air is cool against your skin, the scent of damp earth rising as you observe the labor and love of these humble farmers. Kneeling at the lake's edge, you reach forward, your fingers grazing the water surface, and there beneath you sense the rich, life-giving mud. The farmers beside you scoop it up, with practiced ease filling their canoes with the slick, dark earth that will soon work wonders upon their fields. You join them feeling the weight of centuries-old tradition in your own hands, the substance thick and surprisingly cool. There's something almost poetic in the way the mud resists your grasp at first, as if reluctant to leave its watery home. Historians still debate whether this method was born of necessity or genius, yet the results can't be denied. Watching the farmers expertly maneuver their canoes, you see a dance between man and nature, a symbiotic relationship that has fed generations. Did you know that civilizations across the globe have employed similar techniques? From ancient Egypt to the rice paddies of Asia, this practice of utilizing water's gifts reoccurs. But here in this quaint landscape, the quiet art of mud gathering feels extraordinary. It's refreshing, almost defying the odds of harsh nature. A subtle reminder that you might not survive this labor alone without the community's shared wisdom and effort. The farmers apply the mud with care, slathering it onto their fields with such reverence that it resembles a ritual more than mere farming. You watch the dark soil covered with streaks of the nutrient-rich substance, thinking how odd it is that something like mud, often avoided for its messiness, can transform barren dirt into a thriving field. Surprise shadows your thoughts. Just as years ago, farmers discovered mysterious growth by adding this lacustrine bounty to their land. Years of trial and error have refined these practices. Overhearing a conversation you catch mentions of ancient farmers who, not unlike today's devoted hands, had an intuitive grasp on environmental cycles, though historians debate their awareness's exact scale. They would predict floods, harvests, and dry spells with an accuracy that rivals modern meteorology. You muse over how this quiet scene reflects not just agricultural wisdom, but communal strength. The routine of gathering and spreading lake mud isn't merely about growth. It ties the community together in a shared purpose. You've seen it transform strangers into neighbors and neighbors into friends. Refreshingly, the lake forms the unspoken heart of this village essence, woven into every meal shared, every story told. Just as you ponder all this, a child wades into the shallow edge, their laughter contagious as they splash. It draws out an unexpected moment of joy, tender as the light now fading into twilight. Night is stretching its velvety arms across the sky, yet there's a warm promise in the ground beneath your feet, a legacy of growth testament from past to present. And as the last light flickers out, you imagine the crops already thriving, ready to nourish both body and spirit. There's a gentle reassurance in knowing you've been part of this cycle, if only for an evening. With arms wrapped around your knees, you sit back and gaze at the myriad of stars appearing overhead, feeling the contentment that blooms with the realization that, like the mud, you too are part of something far larger, enduring, and hopeful. The gentle morning light filters through the fluttering leaves, casting dappled shadows over the soft earth. As you wake up, the scents of earth and greenery embrace you, mingling with the faint yet familiar aroma of corn, tamales steaming nearby. You rise slowly, feeling the tender grass beneath your feet, a tactile reminder of the world full of life and work yet to be done. You find yourself in a vibrant Aztec village where daily life ebbs and flows like the steady current of a river. Around you, the rhythm of nature and hum of human activity is a soothing symphony. Women clad in colorful garments are busy at work, and you're swept into their purposeful embrace. Your fingers brush against the stalks of corn in a field of maize, a plant so central to their life that it's considered a divine gift. It's planting season again, an important time that unites the entire community under the sun-drenched sky. As each kernel of corn slips from your hand into the fertile soil, you're aware of the deep connection between humanity and the divine. The women beside you work with a sacred reverence that seems almost palpable. Their labors are an offering to Chicomequatl, the goddess of sustenance who nurtures and protects the crops. It's in this devotion that the story lies. Not only are the fields cultivated with care, but so is the spirit of the people. Historians often debate whether Aztec women's agricultural roles were purely out of necessity or were also steeped in spiritual symbolism. What is known for certain is that their presence in the gardens was vital, for they ensured the continual flow of life from seed to harvest. Here in these communal gardens, the world is both infinitely large and intimately small, each plant a bridge, connecting the realms of the divine to the tangible world beneath your feet. With a graceful ease honed through generations, the women around you wield ancient tools made from strong wood and sharp obsidian. They sing softly as they work the melodies, a comforting lull that reminds every listener of the stories their ancestors have shared for centuries. These songs carry tales of their goddess, who sustains the people much like the gentle hands of the women who now tend the earth. But the garden holds more than plants. It cultivates relationships. Friendships are tended with the same care as maize and squash. Laughter punctuates the air warm as the sun above when a woman jokingly quips about another's flawless skills with a digging stick which genuinely seems a little magical soil simply parts ways for her touch. Amidst this camaraderie, you might even spot a lone quetzal slipping through the branches above, all iridescent feathers in serene grace. This rare visitor suggests a slight wonder, a reminder that even small moments are steeped in a sense of wonder and awe that matches the momentous joy of harvest festivals. As the day unfolds, the sun dips closer to the horizon, casting long golden shadows over the fields. The hard work of the day feels satisfying, an accomplishment that's shared among friends, all eager to partake in the bounty they've cultivated together. This time spent with the earth is as much about learning the wisdom of the world as it is about growing food. Like in a bedtime story you might have heard as a child, this day reminds you that everything in life is interconnected, a simple truth that the Aztec have always understood. The shadows lengthen, and with them a soft breeze rises, carrying the promise of evening rest. As you gather your tools and prepare to return home, a final song echoes through the waning light. It's a hymn to the goddess of sustenance, thanking her for the strength of their hands and the bounty of their fields. As your steps carry you away from the garden, you feel a part of something enduring and profound. In the fading glow of twilight, you reflect on the sacred work of Aztec women and how they cultivated not just food, but a way of living that honored the divine threads woven through every aspect of their world. It's this harmony with the natural and spiritual that cradles the soul in contentment and sets the mind at ease. With the stars now beginning their dance across the sky, you ease into a peaceful state, your heart full of stories and dreams, born under the watchful eye of the goddess who nurtures all. Let yourself drift gently, knowing the world spins softly on, just as you will wake again to the sun-kissed fields of an ancient and enduring past. Moartonsi, you continue your nightly stroll through the bustling streets of ancient Tenochtitlan, where you just took in the moving spectacle of the colorful market, with its vivid feathered headdresses and fragrant cacao beans. The night air whispers through the vibrant city that seems to pulse with life, almost like a living being, a sleepy heart still beating steadily as the night deepens. As you wander further, the sounds of the night echo, softly crickets chirping water, gently lapping under the moon, and distant voices carried by the wind. You begin to imagine what it must have been like to live in such a metropolis where Tenochtitlan's impressive expanse held up to 200,000 residents. This island city was as lively as any modern urban center, humming with the same energy. With intricate canals crisscrossing its surface, the residents of Tenochtitlan were quite literally living life in the fast lane through water. Picture yourself gliding effortlessly along a canal in a brightly adorned canoe, passing by vendors and homes built on this almost magical waterway network. But despite the city's grandeur, your thoughts begin to circle back to the ingenious Chinampas, those floating agricultural marvels that sustain this vast population. These floating gardens, crafted with care and expertise, were more than mere farms. They were the backbone of the city's sustenance. They were so efficient, flourishing with crops, you might wonder if they were sprinkled with a touch of ancient wizardry. Now stretch your imagination to their lush green expanse. The Chinampas were a sight to behold, a garden paradise floating amid the lake's shimmering surface. You could almost reach down from your canoe to touch the vibrant life bursting forth from these gardens. Imagine lying back on them, feeling the gentle sway of the water beneath, as rows upon rows of corn and tomatoes sway in the gentle breeze above you. Sometimes called the floating gardens, these ingenious plots of arable land were created by interweaving reeds and stakes from the lake bed, which act as a rich cradle for crops, kind of like nature's own hydroponics, long before that ever became a thing. The system was so productive that it could feed not just the city, and you wouldn't believe this, but they yielded enough to have surplus for trade with other regions too. Historians still debate whether similar methods were used elsewhere in the world at such an early time with the same success. The Aztecs perfected a way of living in unison with their environment, their glowing city, a testament to human ingenuity and balance with nature. an example of what we might achieve today, if only we tapped into the whispers of history every now and then. As you continue to drift through this nocturnal landscape, your senses are gently assailed by the fresh, earthy aroma of moist soil and the sweet scent of ripening fruit. Picture yourself surrounded by vibrant greens and vivid hues of occasional flowers dotting these fertile lands. The sway of the boat gently rocks you back and forth, and you allow yourself a small grin. After all, who would have thought a garden could float and support such life? Let your mind wander to what one of these bustling marketplaces might have looked like. Streets lined with stalls, offering everything from plump tomatoes and chili peppers to rare and exotic cacao beans. Merchants' voices spirited and lively bargaining in animated bursts of conversation. You probably wouldn't have survived getting lost in the bustling haggling and trading a whirlpool of colors, voices, and aromas. Yet the city's heart beats rhythmically, knowing it is well fed by the bountiful Chinampas. As your journey through Tenochtitlan's moonlit paths continues, the world around you begins to settle into a dreamy interplay of shadows and faint murmurs. The intricacies of the city and its floating gardens slowly blur into the enchanting tapestry of ancient Mexico, a kaleidoscope of history, creativity, and awe. Feel the weight of the day gently ebb away as you allow yourself to melt into this calm ocean of stars above Tenochtitlan, your consciousness lightly tethered to the whispers of the night, a night where the vibrant city and its magical Chinampas unfold a story that points to a wise balance between humans and the earth. It's all around you, perhaps even closer than you think. The moon watches over as you drift deeper into a gentle peace, cradled softly by the echoes of flourishing gardens and the soft lapping of water, a testament to what harmony can grow. You feel your breath slow your mind, emptying of the day's thoughts, as if drawn into the tender embrace of the night. Rest now, knowing tomorrow holds a new journey filled with more splendor the past quietly keeps. As the story of Tenochtitlan gently eases into your dreams, remember that the world is full of wonders tangible and untouchable, just waiting beyond the horizon. Good night until the morrow whispers more tales into your ears and more dreams into your heart. You drift onto one of the floating gardens under the soft warmth of the sun. Here, the combination of constant water supply, nutrient-rich mud from the lake bed, and the sunny climate creates an agricultural Shangri-La where crops flourish faster and healthier than most modern farms. It's like stepping into a painting where every leaf and fruit seems to have been touched by an unseen artisan of nature. The builders of these Chinampas were the ancient peoples of Mesoamerica, who discovered that by piling layers of lakeweeds, decaying vegetation, and fertile mud onto a rectangular patch framed by wattle fences, they created the perfect growing conditions for their crops. Some say it was the Aztecs who perfected this farming technique, but historians still debate whether these ingenious gardens predate them. Regardless of who deserves the most credit, there's no denying that the Chinampas quickly became an essential part of daily life. At their peak, these gardens functioned as highly efficient powerhouses. You step between rows of tomatoes and maize, noticing the healthy, robust state of each plant. It's easy to see why historians are impressed. These quiet green plots managed to sustain large populations, feeding tens of thousands of people who depended on the consistency and bounty of the Chinampas. Time bends as you wander further. Unlike traditional farms that rely heavily on rainfall or irrigation canals, the Chinampas practically drink directly from the lake itself. The rich mud provides an endless nutrient buffet for the roots to feast on without ever being flooded. In essence, it's as if an unseen hand guides the plants towards the sun every day, coaxing them gently into lushness. These floating fields have by no means faded into history. Even today, some persist around Mexico City, a testament to their resilience and effectiveness. Suddenly, your attention is drawn by something unusual at the edge of the Chinampa. You spot a handful of oxen gently tugging on rope harnesses. It's an unexpected sight, reminiscent of something you'd see in a quaint, old-world farming painting. They move lazily, seemingly unaware of their role in an age-old balancing act of agriculture and craftsmanship. And there's a touch of irony here, too. Despite the centuries that have passed and the absence of advanced technology back then, these simple gardens still manage to outperform many of today's high-tech, soil-based farms. Drawing closer, you reach down and let a handful of mud slip lazily through your fingers. You almost expect it to glow with magic, but it's simply nature's own perfect mixture. Its richness, combined with the sunlight pouring down, means crops here require fewer interventions and overall care. Yet, like a well-kept secret, these methods escape mainstream farming techniques that focus heavily on chemical inputs and artificial contrivances. Historians and botanists alike still wonder how many of the Chinampa techniques are lost to time or adapted elsewhere. Some features are unmistakably sophisticated. Rudimentary yet significant hydraulic practices ensure a balance of water levels, providing the kind of irrigation precision that would impress modern engineers. As evening shadows stretch gracefully across the water, you notice the quiet hum of life thriving along these serene garden pathways. There's something comforting and timeless about how gentle innovation was born from necessity here. And perhaps it's this ethos that allows these gardens to quietly outperform others even today. You think about how traditions and innovations evolved together, creating a legacy that's part art and part science, even managing to shape the very landscape they inhabit. Carried away in thoughts, you walk towards the center of a particularly vibrant plot. Let your mind wander like the wind over the water, tracing back over the day's observations. As the sun lowers, painting the sky in deep oranges and pinks, a sense of peace and timelessness envelops you. Time slows and each moment seems to hum with a quiet rhythm as the rightful owners of these lands' birds returning to perch insects, harmonizing their delicate symphony, reclaim their nocturnal world. Your senses become enveloped in the whispers of nature easing into night. You reflect on the ingenuity and profound simplicity of these ancient methods as you absorb every whisper of the elements. Allow your thoughts to settle like silt in the still evening water. Feel the fading warmth of the sun on your face. Let the tranquility of the lake seep into your bones. Drift away on the gentle breeze that rustles through the stands of corn. It's the kind of peace that cradles you, reassuring the weary soul that tomorrow holds both promise and mystery. In the embrace of this timeless garden, you find a dream between starlit sky and quiet earth. Envision gentle waves lapping against the wooden frames of the Chinampas, naturally lulling you into rest, where the stories of the ancients continue calm and undisturbed by the centuries. Let the past carry you softly into sleep. Goods were paddled into floating markets. You find yourself on a small boat, smoothly cutting through the gentle ripples of water as the early morning light casts a golden glow across the scene. Envision rows and rows of vibrant colors floating on the water, like a field of earthly treasures resting on liquid silk. In this serene setting, life unfurls in these vibrant floating markets that seem to play a secret symphony of nature, commerce, and daily life. As you breathe in deeply, the air is rich, filled with an earthy scent, reminiscent of soft rain on fertile grounds, a gift from the Chinampas, the famed floating gardens. These artificial islands created by the Aztecs are marvels of engineering. Using mud and vegetation, they constructed these gardens to rise above the marshes of Lake Texcoco, crafting lands that could produce endless cycles of fruits and vegetables. With every gentle stroke of the paddle, you glide past these fertile patches, each brimming with life and color. Corn stalks stand tall. Beans hang in clusters, and clusters of flowers offer their delicate blooms. Moving further, you notice vendors keenly balancing their canoes, each one an eclectic display of their offerings. A vendor's canoe glistens with stacks of bright orange marigolds, their petals almost like flames. Such flowers speak to a time when they were not just decorative, but woven into the fabric of ceremonial life, a gentle nod to their revered past. Nearby buckets brim with vibrant corn, a staple in this world of plenty. Corn, you recall, is not just a crop, but a cornerstone of Mesoamerican civilizations, a cereal that these lands cherish, deeply seen as a divine gift. Have you ever wondered which society was the first to cultivate this precious grain? Historians do ponder over the precise origins, but within these markets, the question seems to drift into the air, carried away by the soft lapping of water. Between the fragrant flowers and golden kernels, you spot something unexpected, a collection of frogs, their bulbous eyes blinking serenely at the commotion around them. This little amphibian army is a reminder that the Chinampas are not just plant farms. They create a harmonious ecosystem where fish and frogs thrive, adding an unexpected bumpy twist to the aquatic gardens. As you continue your exploration, a broad-nosed woman winks at you, offering up a basket of beans. For these farmers, every trip to the market is an intricate dance of balance and skill, each movement calculated to keep their goods and themselves dry. Perhaps the timing of these excursions was as precise as their choreography. Yet here, too, opinions may vary on how planned these journeys were. You find yourself imagining what it would be like to barter in such a place. Could you trade a woven shawl for a bushel of corn, or would a bundle of marigolds be a perfect exchange for a handful of glistening beans? The subtle art of barter invites you to picture the scene with a nostalgic warmth. Would you have been a keen negotiator, or perhaps simply taken by the breathless beauty of it all? As the sun rises higher, you see the flicker of routine and tradition in each vendor's eyes, cultural relics passed down like precious heirlooms movements perfected by generations. These floating markets were not just about commerce. They were the lifeblood of societies, once profoundly connected to these waters, their histories forever intertwined like the intertwining vines of the Chinampas. And yet, even as you drift back into reality, a soft curiosity lingers in your mind. Do some historians debate just how extensive or organized these markets were in different periods? Indeed, you sense that the very ripples in the water hold their own stories, whispered secrets flowing ever onward, just like this endless journey. So here you float lulled by the rhythmic splash of water, taking in the delicate hum of this marketplace on liquid lands. The paddle makes its steady journey back through the water, guiding you onwards further into this realm of history and wonder. And as you journey on, maybe you feel how stories, like rivers, have currents all their own, leading someplace deep and soothing like the cradle of a gentle night. You find yourself wandering under the bright blue sky of what feels like an ancient world. The warm earth beneath your feet vibrates with life, each step carrying you deeper into a lush and mysterious landscape where the air is rich with the scent of fresh soil and growing plants. The land is a masterpiece of human ingenuity and nature's bounty. The Chinampas' vast garden beds that seem to float on the shimmering waters surrounding them. These are no ordinary gardens. They're part of a grand tapestry of agriculture woven by the Aztec people, where farming was as much about the spirit as it was about sustenance. Here, each plant, each mound of earth holds a deeper meaning. Your presence feels somewhat surreal in this vibrant past where bustling life is intertwined with divine homage. As you stroll through these fertile fields, you learn that farming wasn't just a means to an end. It was a sacred practice, a dance with the divine. Every seed sown, every vegetable harvested, was not merely physical labor, but a tribute to the gods who watched over land and sky. It was a form of worship as much as survival. Here on the Chinampas, offerings were lovingly placed within, the soil gifts to the gods in hopes of bountiful harvests and harmonious weather. You pause by one of these cultivated plots, where the earth feels warm between your fingers. Each harvest was a ceremonial act that honored Tlaloc, the god of rain. His influence stretched across the land, manifesting in both nourishing rains and fearsome storms. The people believed that by appeasing Tlaloc with offerings, they could ensure his favor and temper his wrath. What intrigues you most beyond the vibrant rows of maize and beans is the profound connection between this ancient society and their environment. It's said with a touch of light sarcasm that if you forgot to thank Tlaloc, you probably wouldn't survive the washout of a furious rainstorm. Humor or not, these were truths tied tightly into the fabric of their daily lives. Who knew farming could be so existentially risky? As the sun sinks lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the fields, you reflect on how layers of ritual and tradition wrap around every row every mound like the intricate weave of a comforting story. Historians still debate whether every Chinampa contained offerings or whether it was selective. Nevertheless, the essence of faith and gratitude seems to linger in the air. You sense a community echo of silent prayers whispered on gentle breezes, each one entrusted to the earth to deliver its message. Even as a visitor witnessing these timeless rituals, you can't help but feel a part of this ancient narrative. The melody of water gently lapping at the banks of these floating gardens creates a serene backdrop. Flickers of past lives play between the stalks, a testament to generations who nurtured both land and spirit in inseparable harmony. In the comforting twilight, you imagine how each day ended with a sense of humble gratitude. Each night the people would await the sunrise with hopes of yet another day, blessed by the gentle hand of Tlaloc. In this place where farming met faith, their world was nourished both physically and spiritually. The evening air begins to cool, a gentle reminder that even the most ancient tales must eventually yield to the quiet embrace of night, just as these farmers once did. Even as you drift into the gentle embrace of slumber, imagine the sun rising softly over the magnificent landscape of the ancient Aztec world. Picture, if you will, neat patches of vibrant green like delicate quilt squares, floating serenely on the surface of a vast lake. You are walking among the Chinampas, the floating gardens of the Aztecs where families have toiled for generations, their sweat and dreams mingling with the earth in a rhythmic dance of life and legacy. Your bare feet tiptoe around the edges of a Chinampa, marveling at the ingenious design, small man-made islands fashioned from interwoven reeds, lake mud, and layers of fertile soil. This Garden of Eden, perfected over centuries, ensures that vegetables and flowers grow abundantly in its rich, damp embrace. You feel a connection to the land beneath your feet, much like the families that have called these plots home through the ebb and flow of time. Owning a Chinampa isn't just about agriculture. It's about stability. It's the profound knowledge that no matter the uncertainty beyond the horizon, this sacred plot of labor and love secures a family's food and future. You sense the reverence with which these people hold their land. Every seed planted is a promise whispered to the earth. And then there's the status that comes with it. In Aztec society, having a Chinampa is not merely a matter of survival, but a mark of distinction. It marks you as part of the elite, knowledgeable cultivators who weave vital threads into the societal fabric. It's recognition of your place, literally grounded in the land, in the grand hierarchy of peoples. One might find it remarkable surprising, even to realize how these floating gardens stirred the very essence of status and power. Can you imagine a humble garden plot akin to owning a golden ticket in the bustling cities of the modern world? Yet historians still debate whether every plot truly reflected the status we attribute to them now, or if local myths have embellished these tales over the centuries. As you tread softly on these ancestral lands, inhale deeply the scent of earth and water mingling under the rising sun. You must realize, though, how the very fabric connecting this community is interwoven with these gardens. Individuals offered their life's work to ensure that this humble fertile land is passed down an inheritance more precious than gold or jewels. Families gathered here shared stories and meals, celebrated births, and mourned losses, all under the gentle swaying willows bordering the Chinampas. It's in these shared moments beside these fertile plots, civilizational tales unfurl like delicate petals in the early morning sun. You feel the essence of community pulsing gently around you like the soothing murmur of water lapping at the edges of these floating beds. It's a journey into continuity as each generation adds its own layer of love, labor, and learning. Like an ever-growing tapestry, the Chinampas reflect both history and hope, a symbol of life's cyclical nature, testimony to the endurance and ingenuity of human spirit. In this serene world, stability outshines gold, just as history often outlasts the memories that make it. There in the hushed whispers of twilight, carried on a gentle breeze, weaving through cattails and corn, lies the reality of a people whose identity is entwined with the land they nurture and cherish, echoing softly into the history that guides them to their future. As your thoughts meander through the lush landscape of Chinampas, drifting ever so softly into the realm of dreams, let the calm march of time carry you gently through the mysteries of history, casting every new story as another star in the sky that lights your path tonight. Amid the gentle sloshing of water, you find yourself strolling along the narrow green-filled paths of the Chinampas. It's an ancient floating garden, and as you look around, it's easy to imagine a time when these lush plots were the lifelines of Tenochtitlan. The sun paints patterns on the water's surface, and the air is thick with the scent of growing vegetation. Yet tranquility sometimes gives way to harsher realities. You glide further down the canals, aware of the occasional murmur about the dangers lurking during times of war. These Chinampas, seemingly serene and isolated, were once targets of ambitious raiders. Warriors sought to disrupt the food supply of their enemies. You instinctively glance about, half expecting raiders to emerge from the reeds, though you tell yourself the thought is absurd. This is history, not the present moment. Still, this specter of past conflict casts a new light on the waterways. To protect these vital resources, the Aztecs devised ingenious defenses. Imagine fences not just built from wood and stone, but also living barriers of vegetation. These green walls wind around the edges, dense and impenetrable like the jungles of history books. The gardens themselves seem to breathe with determination, whispering tales of resilience against the odds. As you continue, you encounter a surprising facet of this ancient security system. Floating guards were stationed between these living barricades, silent sentinels that drifted ever watchful atop the water surface. You can almost hear their muted conversations, envisioning them maintaining vigilance through days and nights. It's a peculiar thought, these guards, simply floating there. Yet it fills you with a sense of the Aztecs' innovative spirit. Historians still debate whether these floating guards were as effective as intended. Were they deterrents, or simply an additional layer that added to the mystique of the Aztecs' protective measures? The academic uncertainty leaves room for your imagination to wander as you attempt to piece together the ancient past. Was it fear of attack, or mere legend that propped up such elaborate efforts? If you listen carefully, you might even hear the echoes of construction as aquatic barriers were erected with skillful hands. Logs and vegetation intertwined, forming networks, so that any raider attempting to invade would find themselves ensnared or turned away. These barriers became as much a part of the landscape as the Chinampas themselves, testimony to the relentless spirit of the people who crafted them. The starry night above is silent, casting its glow across the canals as you delve deeper into this verdant labyrinth. It's peaceful now, but in your mind's eye, the hustle and bustle of warriors and farmers is vivid, their livelihoods intertwined with each pulse of this watery heart. The calmness feels earned, each layer of protection a story of perseverance. And as you wander deeper into this night, envisioning how these Chinampas once buzzed with life and industry's gentle hum, the sense of their importance reverberates through you. The ingenuity of the defenses, the fences, floating guards, and aquatically woven barriers make you marvel at the lengths gone to preserve peace and prosperity. While not every tale is captured in surviving records, the essence of survival against all odds endures. But now feel the calm envelop you like the warmest blanket as you reach the heart of these gardens. The distant echoes of an ancient world fade into the soft rustles of leaves. A sense of stillness surrounds you, whispering that this night is yours to breathe in deeply. Let the surroundings cradle your thoughts, quieting the mind as you slip slowly into restful slumber. As you wander through the lush valley, time seems to blend together, much like the gentle swirls of morning mist and sunlight around you. You feel the earth soft and alive beneath your feet. It's an entrancing maze of color and scent, where flowers bob their sleepy heads in the delicate breeze, and birdsong floats like music in the ambient symphony of dawn. You stroll through what appears to be tranquil natural marshland, filled with vibrant iris and tall reeds. The serene beauty is soothing almost enough to make you forget the weight of your thoughts. These lands you discover were once regarded with the same wonder and misunderstanding by the Spanish explorers of the 16th century. They approached this very place, expecting solid ground, only to be fooled by the deceptive artistry of Chinampas, floating gardens, that drifted like mirages across the shimmering expanse of water. You might chuckle now at the image of those stern conquerors, gingerly testing the firm earth floored by the reality that this was no regular land. These gardens were ingenious structures woven by the hands of ancient gardeners who worked in harmony with nature to cultivate crops upon the water. The Aztecs were a civilization of inventiveness, you realize. They didn't see limitations, only opportunities to master the challenges of their environment. Historians today still debate exactly how the Aztecs first devised these floating farms, an adaptation that grew produce to sustain one of the grandest cities of its time. You might marvel at their ingenuity, much as any modern architect or engineer does, trying to grasp how logs and reeds, combined with rich lakebed soil, created such a flourishing agricultural system. Your gaze floats across the mirrored surface of the water, reflecting not only the azure sky, but also the sun-dappled beauty of corn beans and squash three sisters, sharing their life stories through entwined roots, much like the human stories of those who once walked here. You find it strangely comforting knowing that ingenuity and respect for the natural world helped these people thrive over hundreds of years. It's a lesson in perseverance and respect, something timeless and echoing through the passage of history to your quiet contemplation today. And so the Spanish were humbled by their error, realizing too late that this engineered landscape was not simply a miracle of nature, but rather a testament to the hard-working spirits they sought to conquer. The realization dawned upon them slowly and inescapably, much the way dawn finds the darkest night, with the gentle insistence of truth. The Spaniards, once dismissive, began to see these Chinampas not merely as gardens, but as living connections to the ancient and intimate knowledge of the land. As you ponder this, a gentle breeze whispers through the reeds, carrying with it the scent of fertile earth and old mysteries. A chorus of frogs hidden among the rushes harmonizes with the rhythmic lap of water against the bed like nature's own lullaby. You breathe deeply, letting the calm solace envelop you, feeling a part of this ancient symphony, aware of both the surface and the depths. Here in the quietude, the harmony persists, singing to you of persistence, creativity, and the enduring heartbeat of history. You start to grasp how the Spanish, overwhelmed by this natural wonder, might have felt a stirring seed of doubt and awe akin to what you now experience. Perhaps they found themselves wondering, as you do, whether what they saw was real or merely a whispered echo of imagination. Even now, historians argue over the full extent of this Aztec accomplishment. How did they succeed where nature might have pushed back? The intricate dance of irrigation farming and communal labor remains, as does the hint of mystery, like shimmers in the water at dusk. The more you see and absorb, the more you are connected to those who once called this place their own. Their choreography with nature, driven by survival and continuity, feels woven into your own narrative. You almost expect to hear their voices, earnest and guiding, carried by the wind back through time. A rare and unexpected sound breaks the serene morning, an owl's twilight call, a visitor lingering from the night with wisdom to impart. The diverse creatures here, much like the human caretakers, live connected to these lands in a way that feels both grounding and uplifting. Through the passage of time and among the generations who have come and gone, wisdom survives. The Spaniards learned this the hard way as their rigid worldviews gradually softened upon encountering these aquatic marvels. They began to see these gardens not as obstacles, but as a way to learn. It's a humbling reminder of respect and adaptation qualities, sometimes forgotten in the relentless march of conquest. So here you stand, drawn into the story by more than just curiosity. It's a connection that melds the past with the present, weaving you into the colorful tapestry of what once was. Each frame of the hidden gardens sways gently, holding secrets that entice even the weary traveler to pause and consider. And as the day edges on, and the light bathes this wonderland with a golden hue, you find a little bit of peace and understanding in the elegance of simplicity. Resting in this enchantment, you consider how once centuries ago, A different world existed here, hovering on the delicate balance between innovation and nature's embrace. As the shadows of dusk stretch longer, and the gentle call of the night winds begins to glide softly over the ripples, you settle deeper into this serenity. The night approaches, softly draping its velvet cloak over sky and land. The stars blink sleepily awake, casting a gentle glow upon the tranquil waters. Nestled in this cradle of history and earth, you drift effortlessly, lulled by nature's whispered tales and the continuous song of the Chinampas. As the cool night air wraps around, you know that you're resting in a story that endures beyond times, seen and unseen, cradling you into dreams as vast as the timeless night sky. As you let the world around you relax and the night envelope you in its calm embrace, you find yourself drifting softly into the stories of the past. The stars subtly twinkle above, guiding your thoughts back to a time when vibrant lakes shimmered under the sun in a place now known as Mexico City. You imagine yourself standing on the edge of one of those once great lakes, Chalco or Xochimilco, surrounded by the extraordinary Chinampas, floating gardens cultivated by the ingenious Aztecs. These quiet gardens, tranquil and lush, were masterfully created ages ago, layered with earth and vegetation. You can almost feel the gentle sway of the gardens beneath your feet, a tiny testament to the engineering prowess of the Aztecs. But as the story unfolds, you learn that with colonization came profound changes. The Spanish were thorough in their conquest, altering not only the culture but the land itself. Lakes were drained, canals abandoned, and the lush green Chinampas faded into whispers of memory. Yet like a resilient plant growing through a crack in the stone, not all was lost. Historians still debate whether all the water management systems were deliberately destroyed, or if perhaps neglect played a larger role. It is a tale that invites reflection, the balance between progress and preservation, what we choose to hold on to, and what slips through our fingers. You feel the warm breeze on your cheeks as you wander in thought, a constant in a city where so much has changed. Those Chinampas, those proud floating gardens dwindled in number, but some endured tenacious against the odds. Farmers clinging to ancient practices kept these islands alive, ensuring that this piece of their heritage would not be completely erased from the story of the earth. It's a reminder of both loss and resilience, the dance of new and old. In this narrative of change, you ponder how knowledge can vanish, just as other beautiful traditions have done. But within the vestiges of this old world agriculture, there lay seeds of hope. The cities that we live in, the lands that we cultivate, are forged with the burdens and wisdom of those who came before us. You find comfort in the fact that even in the face of destruction, some fragments of the past remain hidden in plain sight, waiting to be rediscovered. Standing there, you let the history settle over you like a soft blanket. As your thoughts wade through this flow of time, you might notice hints of today's Mexico City markets, bustling over the old lake beds and new apartments, sprouting where canals once glistened. It creates a landscape where old and new coexist amid contrasts and connections. There's a satisfying continuity there, like a soothing melody that lingers after the last note has played. Perhaps it is there in the vibrant flowers that still grow in the floating gardens, the colors bright against the calm, reflecting the spirit of the countless ancestors who did not allow these legends to fade completely. You reflect on how time reshapes the earth and people's lives within it, a soft acknowledgement that while much is lost, much is also gained new stories, written alongside the echoes of old ones. It's this dance, this mingling of eras, that breathes life into our world today. And as you nestle deeper into the embrace of your surroundings, you find solace in the idea that history will always have a place in the present, silently crafting the world anew. You listen closely to these stories of resilience and adaptation, knowing that just like tonight's breeze, they weave through us all. You feel calm, knowing that every story, every change, carries whispers of those before us, connecting us to a grand tapestry that spans both time and space. With each breath, you become more attuned to the gentle rhythms of the night and the stories it holds, woven delicately into the fabric of time. As you drift into the serene canals of Xochimilco, your senses come alive with the gentle rustle of water lilies brushing against the sides of your boat, a canoe with its wood polished smooth by centuries of hands. The air carries the earthy scent of wet soil mingling with the delicate aroma of blooming flowers. You close your eyes for a moment and can almost feel the tender pulse of this ancient landscape, a place where time seems to linger just a little longer than elsewhere. Above you, a bright, impossibly large moon casts a silver path over the water, guiding you toward a cluster of Chinampas, the legendary floating gardens of the Aztecs. Few farmers tend these lush, vibrant plots today, but those who remain are like artisans preserving a coveted recipe, passed down through whispers and touch across generations. Each Chinampa is a handcrafted tapestry of life soil, woven with the roots of innumerable crops and singing a quiet song of resilience. As you float closer, the sound of a distant melody drifts over the water, a soothing lullaby sung by a farmer. Their voice rises and falls rhythmically, mirroring the lapping of the water against the shore. They sing to the plants, every note rich with history. You sense that without these songs, the plants would feel lost, as if the music helps guide them to stretch their roots deeper and lift their leaves higher. You are enveloped by this extraordinary fusion of man and nature, an interaction that bends conventional logic, but feels entirely right here. Fascinatingly, these gardens are not restrained by the whims of a buried irrigation line. They float buoyed by a framework of willow roots and reeds, fed by the nutrients from the lake. Historians still debate whether it was ingenuity or necessity that crafted this technique, but what remains is a testament to the brilliance of ancient innovation. As the boat nudges against the shore, you step onto one of these islands. It feels solid underfoot, yet you know somewhere beneath your feet, water cradles your weight. A farmer waves you forward, their sun-worn face breaking into a welcoming smile. They show you how to gently place a fragile seedling into the dark, rich earth, just as their forebears did, layering soil mud and decaying vegetation to create a slice of paradise. The roots will venture downward, pulling from the lake's bounty, and sprout upward coaxed by the sun's embrace and the farmer's serenade. The farmer shares with you a fact that takes you by surprise. These gardens can produce up to 7 harvests a year, a feat that feels almost mythological. And yet, amidst all this wonder, there's a tenderness to the work that speaks more of art than agriculture. You watch as the farmer touches each plant with reverence, whispering words you can't make out, but understand are filled with care and hope. Your eyelids flutter as a soft wind stirs the edges of this garden, carrying with it the earthy whisper of the water and the melodic echoes of the farmer's song. You are at once a part of this timeless dance where humans and nature sway to an ageless tune. As you stand amidst the abundance of Xochimilco, enveloped by history's gentle embrace, you feel a peacefulness and stillness settling over you like a lullaby without end. You lay back in the canoe, feeling the slight give and sway beneath you. The gentle lapping of water against the sides forms a soft rhythmic soundtrack, lulling you further into a tranquil state. Overhead, the sky stretches wide, and infinite clouds, drifting lazily like slow-moving giants in the expanse of blue. Nearby in the reeds that frame the edges of the water, a heron stands its tall, slender form perfectly still. It regards you with a calm curiosity, its beady eyes observing your every move, perhaps judging your presence in its watery domain. But you're a peaceful visitor tonight, more a part of the scenery than an intruder on the tranquility. As you float amidst the Chinampas, those ancient floating gardens that once fed thriving Aztec cities, you can't help but feel a profound sense of connection to the past. These green eternal islands whisper stories of a civilization long gone, but still present in every leaf and root, stories carried on the breeze and etched in the water's gentle flow. Historians still debate whether these island gardens were initially inspired by a need to maximize agricultural space, or if they evolved as a stroke of genius in land management during the height of the Aztec Empire. Either way, their existence is a testament to human ingenuity and harmony with nature. These plots of man-made land nurtured enough food to feed cities, their roots reaching deep into history, just as they reach into the soil beneath the water. But there's an unusual detail about these floating gardens that leaves many pondering. While it's known they float, a quirky phenomenon makes them feel anchored in time as much as place. During certain seasons, when the water level lowers, the Chinampas appear almost as if they're hovering magically perched on the water's surface without support. Yet it's no illusion. Instead, it is nature's balance meeting human craftsmanship. You drift along your hand, trailing in the cool water, feeling every dip and rise of the current, wondering what hands first crafted this blend of land and water. The heron, unperturbed, finally takes flight, its wings, flapping slowly serene as the evening itself. A reminder of how life continues, just as it did centuries before. The scene is reminiscent of a time when canals bustled with canoes laden with fresh produce. You imagine the vibrant markets of Tenochtitlan, where goods from far and wide found their way to eager hands and hungry mouths. the thrill of trade, the sharing of stories, as vivid scents of chili and fresh cacao wafted through the alleys were common. And yet, those ancient market-goers never imagined a future where their Chinampas would become symbols of sustainability, studied and marveled at by generations they could never foresee. The last rays of sunlight glint off the water, casting a golden hue over everything, transforming the world into a painting where every stroke speaks of patience, history, and life. The Chinampas with their seemingly boundless life force house, a multitude of plants that sway gently in the breeze, their leaves murmuring secrets meant only for those willing to listen. Here in this place, the line between today and hundreds of years ago blurs with nature, being the constant, gentle storyteller. As you continue to lay back, letting the stories of the past intermingle with your breath, your thoughts drift to how landscapes like these inspire current generations to think differently about our interactions with the earth. Historians often wonder how much we might learn and how differently we might act if the ancients' respect for nature could be fully restored in modern hearts. Above you, evening quietly descends, offering its cloak of stars as the world beneath prepares to rest. The calm, the ancient predictive rustle of leaves, the resigned murmur of water against wood, all these elements conspire to tell you it's time to retreat into the softness of the night. Floating here between now and then, present and past, you pause to listen, perhaps not to understand everything, but to feel connected, small yet significant, in the vast tapestry of time.